rocks, hair ties, bouncy balls. We would not eat them, but our pets, for some reason, they just dive right in, or a lot of pets do.
Yeah.
They don't always know the difference between what's, stuff that's around the house and what they should actually be eating.
So when does one of these unusual meals become a serious problem? Joining us to chat about the dangers of foreign objects, Dr. Eric Ruhland from St. Paul Pet Hospital with Butter, who's chilling right now.
Happy Monday. Yeah.
Okay, so we mentioned a few items. Are there specific items that maybe we don't realize are appetizing to cats and dogs?
Not really. I mean, I think the thing to remember, and all of us need to kind of consider is, well, we all know this, but our pets don't have opposable thumbs. They don't have hands. So they want to put stuff and investigate things in their mouth. And sometimes they'll crunch down on something and that might feel like a texture. That's something that they want to like maybe swallow.
Okay.
So is there something in particular? No. Like obviously plastics and like foreign materials that won't break down are going to be a problem, but no, there's not one particular class of things that they eat that we normally see. And like Kelly was saying, there's a variety of different things that I take out of dogs' stomachs on a regular basis, whether it be rocks and or plastic stuff. I think the thing to consider is all of us have been in this situation where you walk in a room and you're like, what just happened? And like something is destroyed. And we immediately jump to the conclusion that maybe they swallowed something. Well, usually most of the time, like if it's a dog like Butter or some of these orally fixated dogs or dogs with separation anxiety, they may destroy something when they're gone, when you're gone, but they probably aren't going to swallow a lot of that stuff. Okay. So, but we can get into this a little bit more about specifics of like materials.
I mean, yeah, you walk in, let's say you walk into a room and you're like, oh my goodness, or you realize like Piper ate my husband's retainers one time.
Perfect.
Piper
She really did?
She ate them down to little bits.
Yep.
For some reason, she likes
and
to
did they go in, and did they have to take that out
No,
or not?
they did not.
Usually, yes.
But at what point do you think, okay,
Perfect.
should we let this kind of work its course, or do I need to call Dr. Eric?
So for foreign body materials, normally what I would say is we will observe. If I know for sure I walked in and there was a Tupperware container in the room and the Tupperware container's gone, like it's gone, you're definitely gonna wanna call your vet and we're gonna wanna take a look and take some x-rays at that, because the things that I worry about are if they chew something up small enough, there's kind of like a size as a clinician that I think of, that's small enough it's gonna pass.
Okay.
And then there's something where, well, that's big enough that it's gonna get stuck or lodged in the intestines. And it's big enough that it won't pass through there, but it's small enough that they can swallow it. That's gonna be a problem. So considerations and things you want to look for after the fact. So you walk in, dog's still happy, bouncing around. Most of the time, most clinicians are going to say, just take an active monitoring approach. Most of us you're going to call your clinic, they're going to say, just watch your dog. Well, that just doesn't mean just watch them. That means active monitoring. Watch them every 6 hours. Any signs of vomiting, abdominal discomfort, pain. For a lot of small dogs, which are just as likely to swallow something as Butter, picking them up, and if they have abdominal pain when you're picking them up, or they might growl or get snappy, sometimes they don't puke all the way. You can get a partial obstruction that will kind of lodge in the intestines, and that won't that'll let ingesta go through, but they won't puke, and they'll have this hunched appearance. Their back will be kind of arched up. That's something to watch for sure.
Because in some cases, like we had a cat that used to eat all sorts of weird stuff. We didn't know what she ate.
Yeah.
We obviously knew something was wrong. She wasn't feeling well, and then they did the x-ray and it was like, oh, there's 142 rubber bands in there.
Exactly.
I'm exaggerating, but there were a lot of rubber bands.
Well, cats love linear things, like snake-like things and like mouse-like things. They, for some reason, evolutionarily, they love linear foreign bodies, and those are the worst.
Okay.
Because they get trapped and they can get strangulated around their tongue, and then they'll swallow it and their intestines kind of grab on that, and it's not good. So cats love that. I was forgetting one point I was going to say about dogs, but I will remember it in just a second. But most of the time, overwhelmingly, we never know what they eat.
Right.
Cats present to our clinic. They've been puking for a day or two. Abdominal pain's pretty evident. And that's one thing to watch for. Vomiting on a regular basis of like 6 to 12 hours, because you're always swallowing. We're always swallowing saliva. We don't really know about or think about that. But if they're puking every 6 to like 8 hours, that's usually a sign in abdominal discomfort, okay?
As far as, I mean, obviously you can't be there all the time, and you try to get things away that maybe you know that they're going to go after. But are there things that they tend to gravitate towards? You mentioned cats, but like, is it a texture thing? Is it a smell thing? Is it just anything depending on the
Anything
day?
small enough that they can pick up in their mouth, they can pick up and drop. Consider that is going to be chewed on, or that they can try to manipulate it in their mouth. They're going to do it. Remote controls are a common one. I know Jason Matheson and I always chat about that about his
remote control?
They just will chew them because there's buttons and there's smell, like your smell is on that, so they love chewing that kind of stuff up. So.
Okay.
But in terms of the, like I said, in dogs, the foreign materials that I will have people try to get back up, or will try to induce vomiting, will be like circular or round or smooth things that I can see in a stomach. And I'm like, hey, we'll try to get that dog to puke that back up so that we can potentially avoid surgery. There are some tips, or there's some ability to induce vomiting at home. I usually don't do that unless it's an emergency. Okay. Now, we should really chat. I mean, you were talking about dog proofing and sort of pet proofing the house, obviously anything that's small. I really want to take the chance to talk about medications and pharmaceuticals. That's probably one of the biggest exposures that we get, and whether that's not a foreign material, but that's probably way more commonly something that I find. And for those patients, time is of the essence. We don't know how much they've ingested. A lot of times you come in, there's a bottle that's open. I don't know whether 20 pills were ingested or 1. And a lot of these medications, 1 pill, for a lot of the meds, 1 pill isn't a big deal for a medium to large size dog, but we just never know. So calling your vet right away, because time is really critical for some of those patients.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
One question before we wrap up here. What's the most odd object you've found in an animal?
I actually took out one of those jellied rings with a blinker on it. You know, one of those like kids rings. It was a small dog.
Could you see it in the X-ray?
It was a small dog. It was Yorkie. I could see it in the X-ray. I took out a baby's doll, like a doll head once, and I could see it on the X-ray, and I was like, that is a baby doll head, and it's right there.
And
we couldn't get the dog to puke it back up. So
oh boy.
Wow.
One time I had a dog that ate rocks continuously, and I took 7 rocks out of his ileocecal juncture every time. Yeah, but yeah, the jelly ring was funny because we went into surgery, we opened up the stomach, pulled the stomach up, and we're looking at it, and the surgeons and I are looking, and you could see a blink coming through it as we got it open. Yeah.
Wow. Dr. Eric Ruhland, thanks so much.
Thanks, you guys.
Appreciate it.
Have
Butter,
a great week.
As always. Oh, there goes Butter.
Yeah.
She's awake. stpaulpet.com is the website there.